Welcome to Third Eyesight. You're speaking with Claudine Pucky, Psychic Medium. Welcome back again, guys. Another successful podcast that was launched a week ago. Sorry that I'm not doing them weekly. I have been a little busy lately, so I do apologise. This week's topic, though, I thought I would do things on signs, like signposts, things that we don't see, signs that Spirit give us, and a lot of questions that seem to come up in readings from people that we quite often, and even myself, get signs from Spirit, families on the other side, and just your guides generally give you these signs that we fail to see because we're so caught up in the daily life. For example, I just finished my degree and I've been trying to decide whether I should actually do another degree, do my master's, or go back into my field of work. I haven't really been interested in trying to actually utilize my degree, to be honest with you. So I have sort of been dawdling a little bit. I've been applying for jobs and sort of thinking, well, I'll apply for them. I'm still making an effort, but, I really don't want them. About 2 weeks ago, I'm actually working for the government at the moment as a casual contract, and about 2 weeks ago, I decided, well, I'm just going to keep applying for all these jobs because I was required to because of COVID restrictions. And I'm going to apply for 20 jobs. And straight after I'd applied for about 4 or 5, I realised that I was going to get possibly 3 to 4 interviews. I sort of went, no, I won't. I didn't really put any letters in there. I didn't do anything fancy, so I can't see them calling me to get interviews. I'd actually applied for roles that I had thought were over, like didn't have the qualifications or I didn't have the skills in. And I think I'd sort of set myself up to fail on that one. So last week, I got 3 phone calls from 3 different people with 3 different roles, full-time corporate roles. And I had missed the signs where I thought, I was being a bit cheeky, thinking, well, I don't really want a full-time job. I want a part-time job, but I'd applied for a full-time job. So what do you expect? When you're asking for something, you have to be careful what you ask for. I hummed and hawed because the job that I've got at the moment sort of requires me to do a lot of hours on the side. It's probably more stressful than I thought it was going to be as well. And I have my business, which I do a bit of retail stuff, and I do my readings. So, again, I got that sign when a friend said to me that day when I'd applied for this, I won't get these interviews. And she looked at me and went, yeah, you will. And I'm like, oh, no. And then I actually heard the song and it was like, you'll get what you want. And then I'd spoken to another friend and she says, that every time you do this, you end up getting what you want. So the lesson to me is I need to define exactly what I want a lot more. And I really do need to be careful what I ask for. So at the moment, I'm sort of in between things. So let's get back to people that I do readings for. Quite often I get a lot of people coming in saying I'm really confused. I have no idea what, where, or how I want to do things. I'm stuck in my relationship. I've been going around in circles and nothing seems to work. What do I do? I'm here to ask you what I need to do. So sometimes I'll go to people when they come and sit down in front of me. I'll go, do you really need a reading? Do you really need to be sitting in front of me? Because I believe that you have the answers already. I'm just going to reconfirm them. I honestly will tell people, look, don't come back to see me for another year. I will, when people call me, I will tell them, look, I'm not going to do a reading for you because, okay, great, you're going to give me money, but that's not the whole purpose of you coming to see me. If I can't give you information that I believe is going to make some sort of change in your life, then I'm not going to take your money, and I'm honestly not here just a revolving door to take money off people. I believe my job is of a higher purpose, and I need to make sure that the people that I'm giving my information to and giving a service to are getting quality, not quantity of money in my pocket. Now, believe it or not, just because I'm psychic and I'm a medium, I don't know everything. At the end of the day, I'd love to. However, I also have questions about my life, my path, my direction, who's speaking to me at different times, and I often need guidance as well. So just because you work in the spiritual realm does not mean that you have the answer to every question, does not mean that you're intuitive to the point where you know all, see all the time. And I'd like to say that I have seen some people that seem to think that, but I'm going to tell you we're all humans, and quite often we may interpret signs or messages from spirit in an incorrect way. So I read this amazing book called Signposts quite some time ago when I was really struggling with my life and really trying to figure out where I belonged. And at that time, I had been working with my gifts in my spirit world with family that were in spirit for a while. But at that time, I think I was around about 15, 16, and I was really confused. Am I seeing things? Am I hearing things? What's going on? So it was really sort of vague. So I'd sort of turned to reading books, looked at going to see different people, and each person wasn't giving me what I needed or what I wanted to hear. I guess in a sense it wasn't really resonating with my soul or resonating with my heart. So I continuously kept searching. Now, when I interpret things, I like them pretty basic. Don't give me some convoluted message that's, way above my head where I really don't comprehend or understand. Give me black and white, very basic. So I learnt one particular way to read signs about yourself as an individual, because I have to work on myself in order to give people information and messages as well. I read an amazing book by Denise Linn, and it gave me a lot of different scenarios or ways to see signs or signposts from a very normal perspective, in the sense of using your vehicle as an example. She goes on to say that, it may not be her exactly, that if we look at our vehicle and we look at our tyres, when they're bald, we can't move forward in life. So our tyres represent, on our vehicle, our legs. If our legs don't have enough traction to move forward, which means we don't have the energy, we don't have the motivation, then we struggle and we seem to just stay in the same spot. And that is knowledge, that is information, that is anything in general. When we look at the steering wheel in the vehicle, we also look at we are holding onto the steering wheel and we are in control of moving forward on our path. If our steering wheel is a bit wobbly, then obviously our path is not as straight and as easier to navigate. We seem to be all over the place and we get a bit of confusion. We're not quite sure whether this is the way or that the way. So if our wheels or our wheel alignment is not straight in a clear pathway where it's a straight way, then we tend to sort of wobble, which would relate to emotional, social, work scenarios. So it can relate to so many different things. I found it quite easy to understand because it was very basic. Another one was when you're looking through your windscreen. It's raining on the day You don't have your windscreen wipers working. So how can you clearly see what's right in front of you? How can you clearly see the messages? How can you clearly read messages or see where you're going in life? And that can relate to if you cannot see clearly, it means that you are not either, you don't have the knowledge, you're clouded by a lot of other people's judgments. So you can look at it from that perspective. Or your confusion and mental health can be another part of it. I guess really when I'm doing readings, if we're looking at it from that perspective, I always try to give people a clearer understanding and a clearer direction and interpretation on how to see messages. Quite often, majority of the time when I do receive messages, not all the time though, they will come from your loved ones and they see, hear and know what you're doing on a daily basis. So let's have another example. If we have a family member that has passed that we've been so close to, quite often the partner of the person that's passed or the child of that person who has passed struggles because they feel as if they don't have that physical connection and that communication. So what they will do is they will tend to go around in circles trying to find the answers or trying to find out how they can still have that same sort of connection again with their loved one. Now, when I am doing readings, the loved ones will come through and they give me the information, not all the time, that you're seeking, because at times when I'm doing readings, until you ask for them to come in, I will not see them. It just depends on the individual spirit that we're looking at. So different signs that you may find from deceased ones, and this is being a bit different to the signpost that I was describing before. Some of them may be scents or aromas. So if it was your grandmother, they'll usually have a particular smell that they use, a perfume. Quite often you find grandmothers or aunts or uncles that love to cook. They have this particular or their favourite recipe that they would cook. So it'd be a familiar smell that you would find when you would walk into a house or be around them all the time. If we're looking at communication, they will communicate to you via dreams. So sometimes you'll see yourself sitting in a dream having a conversation with that deceased person. Or dreams of messages coming through, which they'll usually come through with. And that can be sitting in the park, going with the dog, and you're just having a normal conversation as if it's real. You can also have butterflies. So you'll tend to find that a lot of people tell you butterflies, a particular animal that they were close to or loved so much. Those types of things will seem to be in front of your face all the time. So you'll constantly have this type of information which will just appear out of nowhere. And they usually do appear around their birthdays, anniversaries, when they like you to remember that they're with you constantly. Also the temperature in the room, that feeling of love when they used to give you that cuddle and that squeeze. So it can go quite hot, especially I find when I have a person that's culture is quite strong to do with family. You'll find as soon as all the family members come in, the whole room heats up, and as soon as they leave, I'm cold again. So sometimes I'm usually overdressed depending on what the temperature is prior, or I'm underdressed. So people will say, aren't you cold? And then all of a sudden I'm literally boiling. And no, I'm not going through menopause. So you've also got electrical currencies. So like you see in all these programs where they're walking around doing paranormal activity, you will find lights will flicker, radios might come on, and